So in this video, I'm going to tell you who I think is going to win the AL West in 2022. But more importantly, I'm going to share my thoughts on who I think is going to be the most profitable teams to bet on in this division.
Saddle up, partner.
First pitch swinging. Oh, and first pitch crushing!
Hey, welcome back guys, and thank you very much for tuning in again. If this is your first time on this channel, I'm Sports Dave, BettorOff Ambassador, and I document all of my picks on the BettorOff app. I share my best bets with you on this channel. BettorOff is an app dedicated to helping you get the best odds so that you can optimize your return on investments. There are over a dozen sportsbooks for you to shop for the best numbers. The app is free to download and you get to test yourself in an open sandbox without putting any of your hard-earned money at risk to find your own strengths and weaknesses. I keep things extra transparent. Not only do I document my picks on BettorOff, but I also give you a full breakdown with my picks in these videos. Oftentimes, it's the same day that the games are happening, so if you want notifications when I upload my top picks, make sure you subscribe to the channel and tap the bell. Anyways, let's take a look back at the American League West Division in 2021. The Astros won the West with a 95-67 record. However, the Mariners surprised a lot of people last year, including odds makers. Seattle was far and away the most profitable team to bet on in this division last year. Houston, despite having 5 more wins, didn't make much money for sports bettors last season because they were getting crappy odds to win most of their games. I'm going to share my thoughts on who I think is going to help you fatten your bankroll in 2022. So let's start by looking at the favorites to repeat as champs of the West, the Houston Astros, who are favored at -175. The Astros didn't make any noteworthy signings this offseason. However, they will be getting back Justin Verlander. How effective he can be and how quickly that happens remains to be seen. They also lost a pretty big contributor in shortstop Carlos Correa as he signed with the Twins in free agency. The rest of the lineup is still potent, but the loss of Carlos Correa is definitely going to take something off. I expect Kyle Tucker to get a little better this season, but overall, I expect some regression from this offense this year. The pitching staff is what's going to carry this team, and I don't think it's going to be enough to make this a very profitable team. I expect them to win a little over 90 games again, and you're going to be lucky to break even with this team if you bet on them all season. Odds makers consider the Angels to have the second best chance of winning this division at +350. The Angels needed help in their rotation, so they're pinning their hopes on Thor, hoping that Noah Syndergaard can go back to being dominant again. They also lost or just didn't re-sign a couple of their pitchers from last year's rotation, but none of them were really impact players. If anything, they lost some guys that can eat up innings, which could affect them late in the season. On paper, this lineup looks scary, if they can stay healthy. Their biggest guns in the lineup are Ohtani, Trout, Rendon, and Jared Walsh. If Jo Adell can be the impact player they've been projecting for these past few years, watch out. But even if the lineup stays healthy all season long, I don't think the pitching staff has enough in the tank to get them to the playoffs this year. They need at least 1 or 2 more solid starters and to add some depth to the bullpen as well. I'm expecting limited to negative returns from this team, so steer clear of this squad. The Mariners are rated as the 3rd best team to win this division, at least according to odds makers. This offseason, the Mariners were busy. They made a move to get Jesse Winker and Eugenio Suarez, but their biggest acquisition had to be signing Cy Young winner Robbie Ray. The lineup seems pretty balanced. I think it could use a little more pop, but these days that almost seems like a bad thing. I don't like having a bunch of guys that are always trying to swing for the fences, especially in Seattle where balls don't really travel all that well. Speaking of which, I think Robbie Ray could win back-to-back Cy Youngs playing in Seattle now. But this Mariners team is going to need some other star performances from a couple of the pitchers to be able to contend for the West. Despite being one of the most profitable teams to bet on last year and making several upgrades to their roster, this team still seems like it's undervalued. At 5-1, I actually think that it's worth a shot to bet on this team winning this division, and I'll definitely be looking for them to be a profitable team once again. The Athletics are a bit of a long shot to win the crown this year. Odds makers are giving them +750 odds to win the West. Every year, the A's seem to find a way to be competitive despite having one of the lowest payrolls in baseball. They even made a movie about it. But this year, I'm convinced they won't rebound from the losses they had on this roster. They lost the top 3 most productive hitters in their lineup and some gold gloves along the way. They also lost their manager. At +750, you'd think those were long odds, but I actually think they're kind of generous. I wouldn't expect a lot from this team in terms of helping your ROI this season. Last, the Texas Rangers are not expected to make a lot of noise in the West this year. They're getting 20-1 odds to win this division. Their biggest addition was locking up shortstop Corey Seager to a 10-year deal. They also signed Marcus Semien to play second for 7 years, making this one of the more potent middle infields in the league now. This is a team that justifiably has low expectations this year, but I think that they have reason to be optimistic. They also picked up John Gray and Martin Perez to anchor their rotation. Neither guy is going to compete for a Cy Young, but they do provide some veteran presence to a young rotation. This team will need a lot of young guys to have a breakout season in order for them to even be competitive. I doubt they make a run at their crown this year, but I'm going to keep close tabs on this team because I like the direction that they're heading. they could be profitable this year. So let's look at the odds to win the West, but with the money lines now converted to win probability. At 63%, I would not bet on the Astros winning this division. I don't disagree that they should be favored, but at minus 175, that just doesn't seem worth it. At plus 500, give me the Mariners. This team looks like they're trying aggressively to make their move to win this year, and if they're within striking distance by the trade deadline, I wouldn't be surprised if they made some big moves. As for the teams that I think have the potential for making sports bettors money this season, the Mariners and also the Rangers. Alright guys, that's a wrap for the preview of the AL West. We now have the entire American League covered, so if you want to check out the other divisions I've covered so far, make sure you check them out on our channel. I'll also be covering the National League very soon, so stay tuned for that. Now throughout this entire baseball season, I'm going to be helping you get through the dog days of summer. If you want to check out my best bets, make sure you subscribe to the channel and tap the bell. If you want to get the best odds, make sure you get the BettorOff app. Until next time, best of luck banging on the books.